Hey guys, I'm Clarke and welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about a very pink guitar, but also a very surprising guitar, because for the whopping price of £99, I got myself this absolute steal. So, what actually is it? Well, it is an East Coast ST1 Deluxe. Now, for those of you who don't know, East Coast are essentially a beginner's brand. They're designed specifically to be played by people who've never played before. That makes them very, very affordable, but you would think very, very low quality. But if this guitar's anything to go by, then actually the quality is pretty good. So what's good and what's bad about this guitar? I'll start out with the negatives because it is a cheap guitar and unsurprisingly there are some drawbacks. First of all, to get a retail one of these, it's £149. I didn't pay that. I'll explain why in a bit. But when you pay under £200 for an instrument, you're going to expect some shortcomings here and there. So the first thing I'm going to highlight are the tuners. Not sure if you can see that. No. The tuners are no brand, and they aren't the best. I will admit they do slip a little bit, but I mean, kind of expect that on a low price guitar. And the only other thing I could really say isn't great on this is the hardware quality. So the switch, obviously I can't relay this to a video, but the switch does feel quite cheap, but that's because it is. From there though, there are only positives to speak of. So straight out the gate, you might notice that the fretboard does not look the color you'd expect a maple board to look, and neither does the neck. That's because both the neck and board are roasted maple. Now that is something that you usually only see on 4-figure guitars. Again, 149 quid retail, roasted maple neck, stays in tune a hell of a lot better, much more stability as a result. On the back here, on the heel, you can see it's been contoured, which makes it a lot more comfortable to get to the top end. Even Sally doesn't have this. That is not a common feature on guitars at all. It's not that expensive to add to a guitar, so that one's not that surprising to see on it, although it is a nice touch that wasn't really necessary considering it's designed for beginners who probably wouldn't know any different. It also has a nice contour behind the lower horn there, which again just makes it way more comfortable getting up the high end, and that is something I've seen on very, very few guitars. On the front here, it's got this access to the truss rod adjustment here, which is very unusual. I've only seen it there on guitars like Suhrs and Music Man, again, much more expensive than this. Usually on Strat style guitars, and to be honest, most guitars, you'll see it down this end, unless it's an acoustic, where you have to get an Allen key in there, quite a faff to do. So to have it accessible right there, really good idea, and just, again, not what I would have expected on such a cheap instrument. Moving further down, I can't comment on the bridge, because as I do with all my Strats, I blocked it off because I don't like trem systems, so I can't tell you how well that stays in tune. We can probably assume it isn't the best, but I really can't comment on that. So now the electronics, and this takes us to why I bought this guitar in the first place. For those of you who don't know, Brave Revival recently did our first international gig. If you haven't seen the video I did about that, click about here somewhere, I think, if I can remember how to do that. Go check it out if you haven't already. But essentially I needed a more affordable guitar to take as a backup and just to use for the one slide song that we have. Because I couldn't bear to put Sally in a plane, so Dave, my white Strat, became my number one for that trip, and this became my number two. So I didn't want to spend loads of money on it. I saw them for £149 at Anderton's, thought I'd give them a try, and it was great. However, the pickups had a polarity issue, and this is a problem that all of the ST1 Deluxes have. None of the other East Coast seem to. It seems to be just this model with the humbucker, and that is because what they've done is put two pickups that have the same polarity, neck and bridge, and that means when you try and mix those two pickups together, you get horrendous phase cancellation and it sounds awful. And you have exactly the same problem if you try and blend these two pickups together as well. That wasn't great because while I can live without the neck and middle position, I really can't do without the bridge and middle position because I use that in Brave Revival a lot. But I tried a whole bunch and they all had the same faults, so it's obviously just a design fault with them. This one, a friend of mine had just traded into Anston's, so it's second hand, going for £99. And the genius that he is, he had swapped out the neck and bridge pickups for bare knuckle old guard pickups. If you don't know bare knuckle, they're a British hand wound pickup company, and they are very well respected, and they do in fact sound awesome. So this is essentially a modified ST1 Deluxe that gets rid of that one big fault that I found with it. Consequently, it sounds awesome. The fretwork is surprisingly good. Again, I'm going to say surprisingly good a lot in this video. For something so budget. They're not the cleanest, but they're not that bad. I've played much more expensive instruments with a lot worse quality frets on them, or fret dressing I should say. It's also got some lovely bird's eye in the maple there. I'm not sure if that will come across on YouTube. Just another added nice touch. The guitar did me very, very well out in Norway. It served not only as a backup, like I say, it also was used for the one slide song, just so I didn't have to retune the white Strat just to do one song. Another thing it did for me is give me a little bit of reassurance, because Sally has noiseless pickups, which is something that I really like about it. That's why I put them in it, because it prevents any halogen lighting or radio interference causing problems with single coil pickups. As we all know, single coil pickups not the quietest, but the white Strat just has normal single coil. So had there been any issues in Skundvik in Norway, sorry if I butchered that pronunciation, had there been any problems there would be nothing I could do about it. But this guitar has one humbucker, so worst case scenario, had I had issues, I could have stuck it on the bridge, played the entire set on that one humbucker and got rid of that problem. So it really did reassure me a little bit that I had that option. Not one that I actually needed in the end, but I did have the option. Had I had to play the whole set on this humbucker, it wouldn't have actually been the worst thing, because it does sound pretty cool. So yeah, absolute steal. If you're in the market for a very budget guitar, I strongly recommend you go check out East Coast, because this isn't the only one of their guitars they do very well with. And as I say, that electronic problem only seemed to be present on this model. I didn't notice it on any of the others. So yeah, slightly unusual video, but I had to make it just because I was absolutely blown away by the quality of this instrument for the price. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button below, make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell icon for new videos. If you have any comments about this video or any ideas for future videos, please put them below. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.